Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games for the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the deadliest catch of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who had the nickname Minnow by all the girls in high school, Keith.
Hello.
And with us, returning again, our Judge Dredge, Aaron.
Wow, Judge Dredge. Okay, you said that you had a nice little play on words. I didn't know where you're going with that one. I'll take that. That's good.
Wait, why am I the minnow then? I don't get it.
I got the cool nickname, and you got Minnow. Lucky you, Keith.
This week was a listener request. Sorry, I didn't pull up his name. I'll get it after. But this week we played Dredge, if you couldn't tell. But Dredge by Black Salt Games. Dredge is a, I guess, third-person fishing game where you're playing a boat that just went to a new area that is like, I'm going to also argue you're a sentient boat that went to an area that recently lost their fishermen. And so you're like, hey, I got nothing else better to do. Let's go to this clearly mysterious archipelago and start fishing for fish and see what's going on here. Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, they don't. Do they really tell you why you're going there? Like, you're just like, hey, here's opening sequence. You're a fisherman. You're doing the thing. You're on a boat, and then, hey, you're at this town. And they wake up. And I'm not trying to piece this part because I don't think that they really need you to have a huge background on this. But it is kind of like there's not a lot going on there.
They do.
No, there is.
If you literally
That
at
is
the end
literally
of
the game.
At the end of the game, they explain.
Okay, so after you beat the game,
yes. But all right, so let's go around here of whether or not we recommend this as game or pass. Oh, but before we get into that, just a quick reminder, please make sure you join us on all our things, our Reddit, our Discord. I'll have the link right in our show notes to our link tree, which will bring you to all the things. And not only that, we actually might be working on a website, kind of looking into that to make things a bit easier for you all to find everything. But yes, whether or not Dredge was a game or pass. So for me, I was really looking forward to this game. I heard a lot of good things about it. I think, yeah, okay, I was right. It won at least best indie game from IGN in 2023. But I know it has a ton of nominations. So I always heard a lot of good things about this. I actually bought this game probably about 6 months ago. I saw it was on deal and I was like, oh, you know what? I heard great things about Dredge. And then at that time, I only played like an hour. I didn't have much time to put into it. So it was kind of nice seeing, hey, this is on Game Pass now. So great opportunity. I'm going to give it a game, but honestly, I was a little disappointed. I just thought this game was okay. It didn't wow me. I just like, yeah, this is okay. That was it. So yeah, it's a game, but I was a little disappointed.
so here's going to be a big spoiler: is I didn't know about this game until it came on to Game Pass, and then I went, hey, this kind of seems like a fun little arcadey fishing game. I don't even really like fishing games. Like, we joke about every game has to have a fishing mechanic. And I'm like, I generally hate it. I'll always spend way too much time doing it, but I still hate it. I hate that they have to do so much fishing. But yes, thank you, Craig. You kind of beat me to it. Like, I mean, I don't know about the endings. I haven't gotten there, but it's just this grinding, like, I started to move. I felt like I started to move a little bit more efficiently once I got the game a little bit more understood. But it was a cool idea, but it wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. It is still a game, though, I will say. It's just I wanted it to be a definite game, I think.
Yeah, this was a very good game. So this is going to be a game for me. This is one of those games that is fully dependent on you keeping up with the story and caring enough for the story, because it's truly what it is. I know we'll talk a lot about kind of the fishing mechanics of this, or the fishing of this game, because at its base, that's a thing you're doing, but it isn't really the purpose of what you're doing. So I want to go back, though, as to why this game actually sticks with me. Go back a couple weeks when we talked about Blueprints. And one of my complaints about Blueprints, and really about a lot of modern games, is a game just kind of, what seems to happen is people just kind of plop you down into an environment, and then you're just kind of aimlessly trying to figure things out. This was a great implementation of that, to where it plops you down, you kind of understand the basics of what you're supposed to be doing, and then it just keeps drip feeding this mystery. It keeps drip feeding these little pieces of information to follow. And that drip feed is what kept me pushing through, because I wasn't aimlessly going somewhere. It always gave me purpose. We'll talk a little bit of the grindiness of the game, but that story is the core of this game, and it's really good. The further you get into it, the more you start to figure out what's going on. It gets really, really good.
Well, do you want to explain the story, Aaron? Well, okay. Well, before we do, I mentioned,
I don't want to spoil it.
I didn't. I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that this was a listener requested. So thank you so much to Away Reaction 7659 on Reddit, who recommended that we played this game. So thank you for the recommendation. All right. So you want me to go over this story?
Just gently. You don't really want to go too far into it, because obviously you can get very spoilery with this thing, and it's not worth doing that. But just the basics.
Well, it's not your uncle, right? So there's that. At least it's not your uncle that is the previous fisherman, or is it?
It is not. And that's a good guess, though. But as most cozy games would do that, it's your uncle giving you a boat or a farm.
It's like, I was the previous fisherman. Now you, my nephew, will take you over.
Well, you are taking over a previous fisherman that mysteriously disappeared.
No, I mean that's
because it was a family member. Yeah.
There's no other way around that. No cozy game can exist without that story type element. But at least they didn't go with the uncle this time. You just kind of stumbled into it instead.
I don't know. First, I don't know if I'd say this is a cozy game.
Everyone keeps throwing that around on this game. They keep calling it a cozy game. And
on the Wikipedia, it's listed as a role-playing game.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a cozy game. You can die.
Accessibility is why I think this can be a cozy game, because you can turn off. I think
you could argue a lot of games.
Elements, sure, but if you take that out of it, I don't want to get ahead on gameplay, but I think there is an aspect where I can understand the cozy argument. At least is what I will say.
So I do want to go back though to Reddit on this, because this is where I started to see some comments. One, people claim the DLC is outstanding. But another thing that I saw is a lot of people like, oh, I just love to just boat around and fish. And don't get me wrong, I like that too, but it's kind of limited.
I got pretty bored with it.
Yeah, it's not like there's some big draw to go do it. There are some instances where it's interesting to fish in certain areas, but not really. It's pretty easy to do. It's pretty easy to figure out what you're fishing for and where. So I don't even understand that sentiment. I don't understand I just like to put this game on sometimes and just cruise around and boat. And it's like, and fish. And it's like, nah, I don't. I think some of that stuff I was into it at the beginning. Like I really liked it in the beginning. Towards the mid part of the game, I kind of don't want to fish anymore. It's just not fun anymore.
The great thing is fishing is passive in this game too.
Well, that's
what do you mean? Oh, with the net?
Yeah, the net.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a nice, but it comes at a cost in that. But I feel like we're getting ahead on the gameplay.
We are.
Is as far as the overall storyline, again, we joke about, how you stumble into it, but it really is kind of your kind of typical in some senses, like, hey, you take over as the next fisherman for this town. And then let's just go from there. And then, of course, on top of that, you discover there's way more to it than just being the fisherman of this new mystery town. And that's kind of the base of it. So I didn't get to the endings, and actually, so Craig in our YouTube chat I was talking to him one day, and he told me the ending to one of them. So I haven't looked it up, but I at least know one of the endings to the story, and I know there's multiple.
The good or the bad one?
I think it was the bad one.
Okay.
Which has some good aspects to it, if I recall.
It's a singular good aspect.
It's almost like a very you'll remember this, Aaron, and probably you too, Andrew, but Twisted Metal kind of feel to it. Like hey, you got what you wanted. But,
yes.
Here's how it's too much of what you wanted.
Yeah. Now, Andrew. So again, no spoiler. Do you know who the old fisherman was?
Oh, the previous fisherman?
Yeah. Have you gotten to that point?
I mean, I beat the game, but I'm not
Okay.
going to lie. I didn't really get the story.
Oh, really?
Okay, well, I looked up the endings here. I got one of the endings. Apparently, I did the bad ending. I didn't realize there was multiple endings, so I did the
Yes.
bad ending.
Okay.
But okay, I glossed over the synopsis real quick. But as I said, you're this new fisherman that answered a call to a newspaper that their previous fisherman has disappeared. You go to this mysterious town, and I mean, it's not really spoiler because you literally see it on the cover art. But you kind of see that there's some eldritch type monsters kind of mysteriousness going around. And you meet a collector who's like, hey, there's a bunch of, these crazy relics that I need to get. Can you go to each areas and try to collect these things? And that is your objective. That is the overall story. You're going around and you're meeting various towns and the citizens there that give you their own little objectives. You meet some cult members and some crazy fanatics and shipwreck, a wide variety of different people. And you are essentially just trying to solve each of these little mysteries of each of these little islands, trying to find the relic in order to give it to the collector. But yeah, as far as the story went, I didn't care that much because it was quick. Like all the dialogue I was doing, there was no voice acting. Well, there's kind of, I like at the end of where the credits were rolling, it's like voice actors, and there's like 20 people, and I'm like, did I have voice off or something? Like they made a little noise, like that's about it.
If there was a knock, like off of all of that, it 100% this game needed voice acting.
It did.
I think it would have been better served for it.
Because to me, all the citizens were just weird and creepy, and just there was no depth to them. Like one was a dock worker, and I delivered a strange thing to him, and then he was kind of standing around, and goop was coming out of his ears. Like that was it. And it's like, well, like there was nothing else that went on from that. I'm like, what the heck happened with this? Like, what is this? So
it's a result to your action, though.
No,
you got something
that stuff opens up.
I just didn't care. Like by the end of it too, like, so you are also finding some messages in the bottle, and I was reading some of them. I got all of them, I guess, because there's 10 out of 10, but there was like 2.
And you weren't picking up on what was happening there?
I was, but I still once again maybe go, eh. So overall, I thought the story was fine. I like that it had a story that wasn't just me about fishing fish. And
no, that is the game. The game is the story.
I don't mean to be unfair in like that, like to say like, are you comparing this against Claire Obscure, say, for like a story perspective? Because two wildly different perspectives, and I'm pointing this out to say don't do that. They're too different. Like Dredge is a very simple game that actually manages, I think, what Aaron's kind of arguing, has a pretty in-depth story for
very
a
detailed
game versus, at least if you're trying to, and I know you're not fully to play Claire Obscure, which is a very in-depth story, but also a very in-depth game on top of it. Like there's just two different aspects.
Thank you very much for bringing this up, Keith, because I actually did want to mention this. This also was part of my struggle, I will admit, because I really just wanted to keep playing Expedition 33. I'm still playing it. And I knew
trust me, I've been playing a ton of both, and I've been trying to balance it where I'm like, I need to play more Dredge, but holy crap, I just wanted to play more Claire.
Yes,
but at the same time, it really is like to not like don't try to compare their stories, because I really think that at the very least, you have to give some credit to where it's due here. It's a very simple game that has a very in-depth, otherwise storyline to it.
No, so, I agree. I was really trying hard to separate them. I will agree, Keith. But I will say that was part of my issue when I'm playing and I'm like fishing and I'm like this. I'd rather be playing Expedition 33 right now. I think by the end, because I did completely cut myself off of Expedition 33, and then I was getting into this game, but still by the end, the story just was okay for me.
The story, I don't mean to bring it back up here, but the story is much closer.
Yep. I realized as soon as that. Dang, I'm an idiot.
So, all right, for anyone that is not seeing this podcast, Keith just wrote Claire Obscure. We don't know what that is. No one knows what that
Claire
is.
Obscure.
Just call it Expedition 33. Just call it. Stays here that way. So
they're saying Claire Obscure all the time though in the song when I die.
If you're going to compare apples to apples here and not apples to massive
Ferraris.
watermelons. Yeah, or Ferraris. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly. This is far closer to Blueprints in its storytelling,
Yeah.
where it's drip feeding you. So when we played Blueprints, Andrew, you were pretty high on the story and had a great time with the story. This has far more lore, far more depth than even that game plays, but how it drip feeds you the story is very similar. So if you're not paying attention to the details and you're not sticking with it, you're not gonna enjoy it because you're not following it. This didn't require me to write anything on a separate piece of paper, though. So for that, it deserves more credit. But this game is all story. Really, the fishing is like a thing you can do, and it's a thing you kind of have to do to progress the story, but the story is everything. If you're not following the tasks people are giving you, you're not progressing the story, and you're not doing anything.
Well, because I think if we go too far into the story, like I don't know, you have to, like Andrew said, you have to collect these artifacts, and that's kind of the bare minimum of the story. Because this mysterious person tells you to. There's a lot more to it, but that's kind of the bare minimum of it. Because what I would say is that even to a certain degree, if all you want is the story, you can experience all of that and pretty much turn on all of the story mode accessibility settings.
Does every game do this now?
It does. It does. Which honestly,
would you like to not play our game? Yes, I would. I would like to avoid playing you.
You know, in this one, I will kind of more agree with you. You roasted me over my one fight in story mode. Which, by the way, I don't know if you're still playing Expedition 33,
I am.
Aaron, but I won a major fight in Expeditioner mode.
Ooh. Congratulations, Keith.
So I told you I only did it for one fight, but that's irrelevant. My point is that this game Dredge does have the option to do this. You can turn off the quote unquote horror elements to it and I don't know, not have that. But I think that it adds a little more fun because it's really not scary. It's more about timing than anything.
No, so again, not spoiling anything, but the game is very much based on H.P. Lovecraft. So
minus the racism.
So it's got the Lovecraftian stuff to it. And that is kind of the basis of it. And that's why I say it's actually very lore heavy. But again, you have to be paying attention for it. If you're not paying attention for it, and you don't care about story, then this is not your game. Like it's just not, because that is the heartbeat of this. You can't really work around it. So kind of a bummer that we're coming off of Expedition 33, which had an outstanding story. And apparently Andrew can't separate these two things, but I can. And this is still a great story. It is obviously not the same thing, and it shouldn't be treated as the same thing.
But one thing that Dredge does is, and I don't know how important it becomes in the big picture. It may not be at all, but it has failable quests. So there was an item I was supposed to pick up for a certain citizen in a town. It's very early on, but to avoid spoilers or whatnot. And I got attacked by a monster, and it goes, "Hey, you lost this item." Well, that item was the thing I was supposed to deliver to the person in the town. And it was, to like recompense the loss of a loved one. And I was like, well, so, hey, here's the thing.
Whoops, the daisies.
I still, it gave me the option to still go basically close out the quest with them. So I go in and talk to them and like, hey, I lost that thing. And they're like, well, I guess that it was meant to be. Thanks for finding it in the first place. Goodbye.
Man, that's depressing.
I was so mad because I was like, I wanted to like bring that thing back to them. But I couldn't.
So a question we just got. So would your perspective on Dredge change had you reviewed before Expedition 33? I think it's impossible to tell. I think it's
no. I would think a good question because
I would think Andrew would. Because
go ahead.
If you liked Blueprints, I thought Blueprints' story was even thinner than this, and you enjoyed Blueprints. I think the mystery of this was much deeper than Blueprints.
Hold on. I would agree. I actually do think I enjoyed this story more than Blueprints. I liked that Blueprints did have a hidden story, is what I was saying, but I do think I would say I enjoyed this story more than Blueprints. Yes,
Okay.
For me, I just had very little connection in these characters. I think this game lacked voice acting in it because the talking to people is literally just going into a dock and actively going to them and talking to them. And it's usually just like 4 sentences. It's super quick. And so for me, I'm like, I'm not getting attached to anything.
Andrew missed
to answer-
the biggest twist in this game. I think Andrew missed the twist. I think if he understood the twist,
You are a sentient boat. Is that it?
he would be totally hooked on this. There is a core central twist to this entire game. You don't know what it is. You completed this game and did not figure it out.
Is it? I mean, I don't know if I want to ask about that because again, if we're
Because I'm
talking
not going to
about
say it.
spoilers,
I'm not going to say it.
But also, I mean, to answer the question about the connection to Claire Obscure, I would only answer it in connection to us playing them back-to-back weeks. If you put these games 6 months from now, there'd be absolutely zero
That's true.
connection between them, and I'd be like, no, I don't know. But because we're playing them back-to-back weeks, yeah, it's hard to separate them a little bit to say, okay, this is a game that actually has more depth, but because I came off of a game that was just, I don't want to say truly deep. Like I don't sound like I'm trying to be super, smart because I'm not by any means. But it's just that there was a different depth to each game and how they were built. So I'm only comparing them because I'm doing them back to back weeks, but that's about it.
I'm apparently being very, very what do you call it? I'm giving a lot of charity to this game that apparently everyone else. I think
I'm with you
Expedition 33
mostly, Aaron,
just
for the
destroyed
record.
you guys.
Well, no, I'm saying that yes, I'm distracted by Expedition 33 and I want to keep playing that. So I didn't necessarily play Dredge as much, but I actually think that there's a lot more to this game. Yes, the fishing gets kind of boring. Like so if, like we're supposed to be talking about the gameplay. So
Yeah,
the
get to the gameplay
itself. The fishing itself is largely boring. It's very grindy. Yes, you want to upgrade your boat. That's really the biggest thing. You want to upgrade your boat, and to upgrade your boat, you need to fish as much as possible. Don't waste your time thinking it's a waste of time to get the low end fish. At least at the beginning, just go back and forth 30 seconds to 90 seconds of fishing, and then go sell and do that a ton to just upgrade your boat. And that's really the biggest thing. And then go explore the story from there. Because the game itself is not that fun. You want to get into the story, and to get into the story, you need to explore further. To explore further, you need to upgrade your boat. And that's really the big thing of the game, right?
Yeah. All right. So the fishing does kind of scratch a really weird itch for me, and Andrew's going to get this reference. Andrew, do you remember Fable?
Yes. And you're wood chopping?
So
this is like the same mini game as that wood chopping, Aaron.
This was back. I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, I remember this actually.
Andrew was in the middle of a Fable game. This must have been like Fable 2.
Fable 2. It was Fable 2.
It was Fable 2. I did not play Fable 2. I might have played a little bit of it, but Andrew was really deep into it. And there was a wood chopping mini game, which allowed you to get a lot of money if you did enough of it. And Andrew wanted to buy up basically all the houses and all this stuff. And I sat there and chopped wood for Andrew on Fable 2 hours, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, hours. Andrew was the richest person in the world because of my wood chopping skills. This game, the fishing is very similar to the wood chopping.
Yeah.
So it kind of weirdly scratches an itch for me to do that.
I think the thing that more scratched your itch on the wood chopping in Fable was it had a running combo. So anytime you were at perfect every time, it multiplied the gold up to like 10 times. So you were like, oh my God, I'm at the 10 times gold for the past 30 minutes. And then when you lose, you're like, oh, I got to get it back.
Yeah.
This game doesn't do that though.
I did love that. And I never reaped the benefits of that wood chopping, by the way.
There's two different ones, right? Because there was in Fable, there was also the
there was another
blacksmithing one.
Yeah.
The blacksmithing game was another one that was really fun.
Yeah.
But I'm getting sidetracked here. The other thing to the other thing about kind of the general gameplay of this game, to progress the story, you are basically just doing fetch quests every single time. You're like finishing a fetch quest to go do another fetch quest to do another fetch quest. So the actual mission variety in this game, or quest variety, whatever you want to call it, does not shift. It is exactly the same no matter what. So yeah, that's not great. Again, I would not come to this game and say the fishing is the most interesting part of this game. I don't know why people would say that, because it's not. Just go play an actual fishing game. I feel like you're going to get more out of it than going and doing this. To me, this is all story.
They're all very basic varieties of quick time events, and like not even interesting ones. Like if they got interesting in some way, and I'm glad they don't, because I probably wouldn't have liked the gameplay at all, but it's not the selling point of it at all.
The dredging is different than the fishing.
It took me a little, probably good, when I say a little bit, I like 60 seconds of like, what am I actually trying to figure out how to do here?
That first time dredging, I was like, wait, what am I doing? And I was like, oh, I see it. I get it.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought that was super easy to figure out right away.
No, well, I was trying to time it with the check marks so that I was like,
that's what I was doing.
Them. And then it didn't take me, it took me long in terms of, it took me 60 seconds to 2 minutes. Like
it still seems like a long time.
When I'm seeing something spinning like that with like just dots, it reminds me of playing, oh gosh, what was it? Was it Mass Effect, where you try to line them up and that's how you unlock something? And then like the more circles there are, there's more rows that you have to like time to get them all in the same spot to unlock. That's what I thought it was doing, because it's just spinning. So I'm like, well, what am I trying to lock? So I kept trying to like lock it, and then it would just make a sound. And I'm like, wait, did that work? What is it? What am I doing? So yeah, it took me a minute to figure out that no, I don't want to line up the dots and lock them in. I want to avoid them. And I figured it out. It just took me a minute. So another question we got in the chat here: do you think this would have been scarier if it was in first person? No, it's cell shaded, kind of. It looks kind of almost like hand painted.
I think the whole gameplay would have changed, but I
don't know how this would have worked. You're just on a boat the whole time. You never step off the boat.
Well, at nighttime, your vision is super short, and in first person, that would be pretty cool.
And if we go back to, at least in my opinion, what should have been a scary game, what was, you're stuck on an oil rig?
It calls still wakes the deep.
Still wakes the deep.
Still wakes the deep. So the concept of it, that like, because at least, so this is talking about me personally.
You guys didn't think that game was scary, by the way.
Like in terms of my irrational fears are being in the middle of the ocean and being in space. Both of those things are so completely avoidable for me that I have no reason to be afraid of them. But the thought of them,
that's what irrational fears are.
Exactly. Right. So those are my two irrational fears. So Still Wakes the Deep, I thought was going to trigger some sort of like, okay, this is just going to hit as a natural fear for me. It didn't. This game could have done that in a first person, but it would have had to have really committed. I don't think Dredge fully commits to it. It's like, hey, let's give you a little bit of an element of it, but it's not really scary. It's more just, it's that like survivalist element of like, you're about to run out. Your engines aren't quite, you don't have that boost enough to get there. It's getting dark. You haven't slept in long enough. And it's just a little bit of not having enough, but it's not scary.
So that's another element actually I want to talk about. So obviously the fishing.
Mango Dimitri, by the way, who asked about having an irrational fear of pineapples.
No. So with the gameplay, the fishing obviously mediocre. Another element I don't know how much I love or hate is the day-night cycle. Because you kind of want to get everything done in the day. There's obviously certain things you can only do at night, but they basically make it darn near impossible to really do things at night. Like for an extended period of time. You can do things kind of in short bursts, but you will get attacked at night.
Well, not that you can't see anything until you get like probably like the tier 3 lights. Like you really can see nothing.
I think I'm like tier 2 on my lights right now.
Yeah. So I don't. My problem though is the day cycle feels really fast. It feels like, and I know that's kind of part of the storytelling, because as you go, you can kind of do more things quicker, and then that day cycle just doesn't feel as short. But this is where I say like the mid game especially can be a little rough on this, because you're not very fast, and even when you are faster, you're still not that fast. And you're trying to get to these little islands, and every second counts. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily scary. I'm not like scared of what's going to happen, because you're usually okay at night. Like it's usually not that bad. Although one time I was really, really, really dumb. It was very early in the game. It was night. I was running too far behind. And I thought the game did this. Like I was like, wow, this game changed the map at night. I was trying to get back into Minnow, and I just missed it. So all of a sudden I was like, oh, they removed the town. Like I can't go to the town at night. And I just realized, I just went the wrong way. So that was a
lighthouse.
But the lighthouse is like on the other side or something like that.
There is a weird thing now. I don't know if it's they take rocks that you would see during the day, and at night they only start to kind of casually pop into view as your light hits them, or if they actually just pop up new rocks. I think that actually creates new rocks, and that's one of those kind of senses of like horror of like, it's like putting your character in the sense of like you're seeing things that aren't there, so that when you, at least when I think of it from a role-playing perspective, it's like so that your character comes in to see it's like, I hit this rock because you'll never believe it, this rock that you've never seen there was there, I swear to God it was there. And it's like your character living through that. As the light comes into it, you kind of find these rocks that you're about to hit, or you don't.
I mean, those I saw. This was genuinely me just missing an exit.
Oh, I believe that too. Trust me. I think my favorite story you've told was you didn't actually tell it on the podcast. It was only happened in the text, was you hitting the short trigger on your Xbox controller.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking that the game didn't want to let you.
Well, that was Expedition 33.
Yeah. Is this just going to be an Expedition 33 review part 2?
It's funny. I was actually going to say that at the beginning of the episode. We're here to talk about more Expedition 33.
We never actually told you this, Aaron, but the reason we actually brought you on instead of Liz is we used to just roast her all the time. That's your new role.
So, I know. I fit the Liz role perfectly. Like I am pretty lost.
Is that you have just as many hours as me and Andrew in video games, but you fit the Liz role that still all the perfect.
Yeah, my problem is I play like the same 2 or 3 games all year long. And so this forces me to try a bunch of stuff I would not normally try, because I'm normally too busy playing Marvel Rivals or Battlefield, and I'll play those on repeat, or college football. I'll play those over and over and over and over again until the next ones come out, and then I'll go to those. So I totally understand. I do a lot of dumb things because I'm that's what I am. I'm the role of the noob, and I'm that for a reason. So we've got another comment here in the chat of somebody else who bought the DLC. So the DLC, people love this game enough to go buy the DLC here. It seems to be very popular.
Which there is Andrew 2. The Pale Reach and the Iron Rig.
Yep. I saw the Iron Rig.
The Pale Reach is when you're kind of like in a nice area.
Yeah.
But all right. So my issues with the gameplay though, I like the fishing, as you said, is fine. My issues, to me, I felt the horror is very difficult for me in games, because you either do a good job and I'm nice and spooked out and it keeps me on edge, or it's going to be the opposite and it annoys me. And this game was kind of getting annoying. So when I mostly played, I mostly spent majority of my time in like the Windy Gales, whatever the first, the bottom right area. That's I literally leveled up my boat almost maximum just in that area because I saw a lot of resources that kept respawning. Fish were worth a good amount of money, so I literally stayed there.
Is that where all the jellyfish were?
No, that I wish I did that because that area is easier to farm. But no, it's
especially with the net.
This was the one with the cliffs, and it had a giant fish that would appear and just chomp your boat. Like you couldn't, the purpose of it was to outrun it.
The second relic, because I never got that relic, but I know
you skipped it. I don't even know you skipped them.
I don't want to skipped it, but I haven't gotten it yet.
But like I know it was trying to be scary of this big snake leviathan coming out from underneath the cliffs and it can chase you. And I was like getting annoyed because I'm like, what am I doing? How can I avoid this thing? Because I juke it and it would go by me and I'm like, cool. Nope, turns right back around and just keeps coming and won't stop. Eventually I learned where it's like, oh, it's slow. You just got to outrun it. But it takes forever to outrun. Like it's just hard to do. So I'm just getting frustrated. I'm like, this thing is just slowing me down. Like it's a mechanic in this game that's just slowing me down. That's all. That's its purpose. Like just to hinder me a little bit. So I have to keep paying for repair costs. So like so the horror elements just weren't hitting for me. I liked at night. They did some spooky things. Like there'd be some eyeballs in the distance, look like people are looking at you. You get more glowy, eerie fish that would actually kind of hunt you. And I'm like, okay, but it just didn't do well enough for me to hit. Like to me, I was looking for more of that Lovecraftian element to it.
I will tell you, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. I guess maybe it kind of is. So sorry. But there was one time at least, and I'm sure probably this happens regularly. There was another boat and I was like, I'm going to go. I pulled up so you can hit the left bumper and you have all these different options of things you can do. I was like, I'm going to honk my horn and I'm going to honk my horn. It comes swimming at me. And that is, well, and so I'm already telling you, it was not a boat.
It's an achievement though.
And this thing attacked me. It was just a big old fish. It was not just a lone boat swimming on the water or floating on the water, I guess, in the lone of night. It was an angry fish. And I thought it was a fish or a boat. And it was not a boat. It was fish.
Okay, I think Keith, did you just say fish?
Guys, it's not a boat.
It's a fish. In case you didn't hear me, it's a fish. It was a fish.
It's
a fish in a boat.
Definitely not a boat.
Here, I'm trying to warn all the potential fishermen or fisherwomen out there.
That was good. That was good, Keith. You did warn them. They now know. It is a fish. It's not a boat. So the more Andrew talks about this, the more I think Andrew I think he missed this game. Like, I think he totally just blew by this thing and did not understand what was happening. How rare is this that I'm the one that's like, no, I totally got this. Like, I totally got what this game was doing. I totally get it. And Andrew's going over, I wish this was more Lovecraftian. That is what this game is. It is very Lovecraftian. That's literally the basis of this. It literally is built on lore from H.P. Lovecraft. So I don't know how you get there. It's crazy to think you got to the end here and you clearly missed.
No, I did. To me, I just didn't, it wasn't scary enough. Like I didn't feel like there was only to me a handful of times I'm seeing, unless you're getting the aberration fish, which are kind of mutated fish that you get that obviously are Lovecraftian looking, but they're not dangerous. So to me, it's just, I just didn't feel like I was getting the horror of Lovecraftian is what I'm saying.
It's not about the scariness of the game. And
I
know I already compared Still Wakes the Deep, and I don't want to make this whole big comparison, but like Still Wakes the Deep never felt like I was alone. Whereas I'm like, all of a sudden, holy crap, it's coming up on 1 a.m. and I'm actually a lot further from the town that I need to get to than I realized. The eyes are starting to pop up and I'm like, it may or may not pop up on me and I may not have this big old fish attack me.
Don't go to the boat, Keith. It's not a boat. It's a big old fish.
It's
definitely not a boat. No.
It's a fish.
It's a fish.
Yeah, but seriously, like it's about that like kind of anxiety of like, crap. I'm like, it might not happen. It might happen. And apparently it can also have game changing consequences, which depending how you feel about a game, that just it's not a real fear, but it's something about how you like you play a game. You're like you play a little bit with that anxiety of like, I don't want to get screwed up. I don't want to have a failable mission be failed. I want to make sure I win them all.
You don't want to lose that trinket.
Exactly.
I do again want to push against Andrew a little bit though, because we've had this conversation before. Gosh, why do we keep referencing old games? But I think it still wakes the deep. I pushed back against both of you guys at that time because you guys keep making this claim in horror games that like, I just wasn't scared. I just wasn't scared. It just wasn't scary. And my problem is I was like, then what is the scary game? Like, what is the scary game? I think you've gotten to the point where you're desensitized to horror, especially when it's in video games. Like, you're desensitized to it. It really would take something really unique and special for it to be scary. It might have jump scare moments, but it's not scary. And you didn't really have an answer then. And this is this game.
I don't think answer it now though.
Okay.
So and with Dredge in particular, and I think this is with certain, it's the survival aspect of it is, what does it make my heart race? It's not about the fear itself, but this game would make my heart race a little bit more.
It's the tension.
Exactly. Like even at one point, I blew up both my engines. I ended up actually failing and just having to reload my game. So I failed, and it
Keith,
wasn't...
you were having a war out there in this game.
I was, but I blew
that big old fish,
and I was trying to get. I could see the town, and I was like, I'm just trying to chug along slowly as I can, but there was a tension to it, and it was like this. Like I want to get through this. I want to do this, despite how close I am to failing. And that's what this brought me. It's not true fear, but it made my heart race a little bit. And that's what I like about it.
It didn't for Andrew though. Andrew unfazed, not scary.
He needed to go time his parries on
for me. It's going to be the same issue with Still Wakes the Deep. And that's, I have no connection with any of these people. So for me, I'm like people could be dying around me and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. But Nerd Talk here and their chat here made a good point. He said Poppy's Playtime. And yeah, I've been playing Phasmophobia. That game scares me. And also I just started playing Repo.
Is it scary or is it just jump scares?
Probably more jump scares. But still, it's very
the
spooky.
Jump scares.
Sure. Okay, but I got to push back on you, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Keith, what's the number one thing Aaron usually complains about when we review a game? When he says, this could be a mobile game. Well, guess what, Aaron?
No.
Dredge is a mobile game. It is 100% a mobile game. And here you are praising this game, and it is a mobile game.
I don't think it was originally.
I didn't know that, but I'm glad you did that.
I didn't think it was originally a mobile game. I think it must have ported later on.
Probably.
It doesn't necessarily surprise me. Although
an easy tap, quick time mechanic
this
game operates.
The reason why this game doesn't feel like a mobile game to me, because I feel like to be a mobile game, like story is literally irrelevant to a mobile game. So, and this game is literally story. So that is a little surprising to me because it doesn't feel like a mobile game because it actually has a story to follow. You know, when you're playing Slay the Spire or Monster Train with zero story and you just kind of click on some things, that is a mobile game. It's not made. It's like it's a useless game to play on console.
Don't forget Balatro.
There is lore to the monster companies and Monster Train.
All right, you can shove
Slay
it.
the Spire about, just saying. There's some
you
lore.
can shove it.
Balatro doesn't. There's no lore there.
Yeah, we know that, Keith. Thank you. Big old fish.
I'm a pro at Balatro.
We know, Keith. Go.
All right, let's get into the audio though. The music I liked, but there wasn't enough of it. There was a lot of times it's dead silent, and I'm like I enjoyed the music. So you know what I ended up doing? muted the game and put on Expedition 33's music.
Please stop it.
That's a principle thing, and I don't want to hear anything otherwise.
I knew that was going to happen.
I liked, but like I said, I did like this game's music. It just, it wasn't enough of it.
To me, it kind of blends into the background a bit. It's not bad, pretty simplistic, nothing really all that flashy about it. It's fine. I think my biggest complaint on the audio side is going to be what we mentioned earlier, which was just that it needed voice actors. And I think voice actors would have done just enough to get this a little bit more of a world to it. I don't think it's like the end all, like it doesn't ruin the game for me, but I think it does need that.
If you're talking numbers though, so Andrew right now, if you do have video pulled up, but Andrew is showing the Spotify numbers on this 32 tracks, averaging, I would say 80,000
streams per.
Yeah.
So there's people that are listening to it.
That's actually a pretty decent amount. And
not bad. That's bad
everything.
numbers.
That actually is pretty decent, in more than I would expect.
It's been out for a few years though.
That is true. But yeah, I there was definitely points of this game, and I think it's because we've had this good stretch of games with just exceptional and really good music. I was paying attention to it, and I thought, okay, there's really good aspects to it. But I do think Andrew is right that there are moments where like it's just kind of there's nothing happening. But when it is there, it's really good.
Yeah. I would say, like, if I'm putting that on a scale, like it's like a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not spectacular. It doesn't do anything all that.
Yeah,
all that out of the ordinary, but it wasn't bad either. Like it's plenty good. I can understand why people would listen to it. It just wouldn't be my main choice.
Like
if anything, if we want to go back to Andrew and way back in the Liz days, the feather sound, I'm surprised that you didn't get mad about like the dredging sound, because that is just a grinding sound over and over and over again.
It wasn't frequent enough for me.
Which
it's not.
Actually, we didn't really get into that in the gameplay. That's actually one of the biggest complaints of the gameplay is I have to upgrade by finding like all these materials. It felt like such a chore to find the materials. But
everything's a fetch quest. The entire gameplay is fetch quests, and so
that is true. And you said that, and I agree. But finding the materials for upgrades just felt like a chore. And that's one of my complaints, but that's a whole other conversation. It's just a small point.
Again, the whole gameplay is a chore. You are going to areas to find specific things and then bringing it back to that person. And I mean, it's when it came to finding upgrades for your boat, like for me, it was a matter of just like, if I come across it, cool. I'm not really going to go out hunting for it. If I see it, great. But outside of that, I'm mostly just going to try and do these missions as far as I can.
I will say the nice thing I do appreciate about, the whole fetch quest aspect of it is it wasn't too annoying. Like the fish were always, anytime you had a fetch quest, it generally was close by. It was never like, oh yeah, go across the entire map to this area. And this fish you can only get if it's raining and it's between 12 and 4 o'clock. You don't get that. Like obviously, yes, there's some fish at night, some fish at day. But overall, it was always in the area and it was relatively quick to do. And like I said, the fishing mostly is passive because you have a trolley net that literally just, as you're driving around, will collect fish for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do wish this game had like essentially like a jukebox on your boat where I could select the music I want to listen to and like keep playing music. Like Expedition 33 did.
Oh, please stop. I knew it. He's going to turn this into an Expedition 33 comparison.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
It's a hard one because I'm with Andrew on this. I keep playing it. There's plenty of times where I'm like, I should be playing Dredge, and I'm like, I'd rather be playing Expedition 33.
See, I've got them split up. Like I have Expedition 33 on my Xbox, but I had Dredge on my PC. So when I'm out working, I can play Dredge when I'm going to play Dredge. No, because I don't play mobile games. And then at night, I can pop on some Expedition 33, a little bit before I jump on Marvel Rivals. So, that's my setup. So
Don't get me started on rivals. I know you.
that
I know you've been having a rough go. I only took one shot and I haven't got back to it since.
well, some people are more committed.
I mean, I will say next week's game, I think I'll actually be way more focused into.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't wait to hear the comparisons.
But yeah, as far as the graphics go, though, it's a cell shaded game. Overall, though, I thought it did a really good job. The
I don't know
environments
if
are
it's
nice.
cell shaded. It's like hand painted.
Yeah,
Like cell shaded's a very specific comic look where it's got very defined black lines. I don't know if I would call this.
Does.
I don't know. I think that's debatable. I don't know if this would be called cell shaded.
But either way, I feel like
this isn't a hot take on this podcast, but the water,
the big old fish.
Believe it or not, this game takes place in the water, so the water is a huge element to it. And if we're comparing this to Sea of Thieves, world of difference, obviously, but honestly, like the way they operate the waves, because if you look at anything online, because Aaron will back me up on this, things that I read on the internet are facts and true.
Of course, the internet can't lie.
People love the way that the waves operate on Sea of Thieves, and I feel like actually Dredge does a really good job of when you're out on that open water and like riding waves of how your boat bounces and rides. It's really cool, like from a visual perspective.
Think I ever noticed the waves in this game.
I did. This is the thing I paid attention to because Sea of Thieves is like made my brain look at this, and I think they do a really good job of how they present them, and I thought it was actually really cool. So that was something I put praise on this game for.
Yeah, I think visually, the game's got a pretty cool palette. Like everything's kind of bright, but especially at night when you get kind of the vibrant purples and blues and green hues that start to pop out. I think visually that stuff looks really, really cool. I don't want to reveal too much of it, but you get to some certain island areas that look really cool. They've got a really cool design to them. So all in all, I think visually it's a good looking game. I don't have any issues there. I'll take this over 8-bit graphics or 16-bit graphics any day.
That's fair. And actually, one thing I was going to say, it not to again weirdly compare it to Sea of Thieves, but I feel like this has always been something that people have asked for in Sea of Thieves that Dredge does that Sea of Thieves doesn't. Is like when you're out there, like having whales and like big oceanic animals that aren't necessarily aggressive, but just part of your experience. Like you have whales like jumping around. I think maybe you can probably catch them at some point. I think because
I don't think you can.
No, you don't.
Okay,
but you do get to see whales.
But you become a whaler, start harpooning.
I don't know whether you do or don't. My point is like it really you're just like out there and it's a cool thing. Like you just see them out there. And it's I don't know. It's a visual thing that they added. I thought was really I appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I like the graphics of it too because I like each area has its own very unique style to it. So I like that they kind of mix it up a little bit. But yeah. But as far as the achievements go, though, the achievements are good. There's a handful I wish I knew at the beginning. I forgot you have a spyglass. I didn't quite understand the purpose of it until I saw there was an achievement to basically scout and see what fishing spots, like what fish are in the fishing spots. And I'm like, oh, but you're supposed to do that for every fish. The couple handful of annoying ones are catch every like version of fish, catch all the
so many.
There is a surprising amount.
From an achievement perspective, that's the biggest issue. There's so many fish.
Yeah. I mean, they're all located in their specific areas, so you can kind of figure it out, but it's obviously going to take time. And for me, it was just the spyglassing of looking at all the spots. I'm like, it's going to take a while. But overall, majority of the achievements are easy to get. This is, you're looking between like a 9.5 hour to 12-hour game. It's pretty short. I completed the game and I'm at like 640. So it's a pretty solid game for achievement hunters. There's a handful I think I could still go back and actually kind of quickly scoop up. But yeah, the achievements are good. But yeah, we'll get into our final thoughts here. So I enjoyed Dredge. I thought Dredge was a good game. It just wasn't. I was expecting more because, as I kind of said in its Wikipedia, it was listed for the best game of 2023 in its list by Games Radar Plus, Time Magazine, The Guardian, Svenska Dagbladet, and Polygon.
Andrew, I think you just missed it. I think you missed the key parts of this story. You totally just missed it.
I guess we can talk about it after we do this.
Well, let's talk about it after.
We'll do a little spoiler thing at the end because I don't think I did. I'm literally looking and I'm like, but anyway. So I thought it was a fine game. It's just its actual fishing mechanics and stuff are just they're pretty tedious, but it's simple. So it is semi-relaxing. I guess I wouldn't describe it as a horror game. So if you're someone who's very sensitive to horror, you might not find it relaxing. But I feel like majority of people, it's just kind of like, yeah, okay. And you got things that'll hunt you at night with its day-night cycle. Another thing that was a little annoying is you have very limited storage space. So each fish you're getting are essentially like a puzzle piece, and you're kind of arranging stuff in your ship, which was actually kind of a fun mechanic. But it very much made me be like, I need to upgrade my ship because I have no hull space. This is annoying. For me, this is a solid 80. I didn't hate my time playing it, but by the end of it, I was just like, yeah, okay.
I'll tell you, this is sometimes why I think I hate the actual scores of this game. I hate all of your takes on this game, Andrew, just about.
You didn't mention the big old fish, the waves.
Yep, you have no issues with big old fish, but no, really, you're right. Yeah, sure, this isn't a big horror scary game, but
I just hated all your takes, but you're right. Wow, Keith.
No. This gameplay adds a certain level of tension that yes, you can turn off these features, but there's I really think no reason to it unless you really are just again afraid of I don't want to say afraid because not even from a horror perspective, but you just don't want to miss anything that you could pass. Because I think that's the worst thing that could happen, at least from my experience. So there's nothing truly scary, but it actually has a way to make your heart beat and bring some tension to it with just the overall timing of the night cycles. It always feels too short. It has this like even when it's the daytime, you're just out in the middle of the ocean. Maybe this is my own perspective of just fearing open water. But it actually plays on it well, which other games haven't done as well. It's not the greatest game I've ever played. It absolutely has just some really grindiness to it. That's just not a lot of fun at certain points. The fishing is just nothing more than a glorified quick time event. And it's unfortunately a pretty huge aspect to the game. But I think I give it a solid 83, which I liked this game so much more than Andrew did, apparently, because Andrew just
by 3 points.
That's what I'm saying. The score is stupid because my 3 points mean nothing when you're just like, this game is stupid because it's not scary enough.
I think adding points to this kind of highlights how dumb putting a point score to any review is. So I like it. So we should keep it. This podcast has gone off the rails a lot tonight. So I'm going to try and bring this all back in. It's really funny to hear these reviews because like Keith likes this game, but he kind of missed the story, and the story is kind of the game. Andrew missed the story, but he doesn't like the gameplay, so he doesn't like the game. Very confusing. So let me just bring this all in, clean it all
you're
up
calling
here.
Me out, even though I kind of agree with you. I really appreciate that. Go off.
So here's the basics for it. The gameplay is fine. It's not great. If you are somebody that likes story with a little bit of horror mixed into it, this is probably a great game for you. But you have to get invested in the lore and the story happening around you. If you are coming to just fish, I don't understand these madmen who are out here saying, I just love to go out there and fish. I don't get that. It's fine, but that's not the point of the game. That's not where you're coming to this game. You're coming for the story. It's not a very long story, but to me, it pays off. There are just a few moments in this game that really start to bring it together, and you say, all right, that's pretty cool. I like that. I can get behind that. So
and the game's called Dredge, not Story. People are here to fish.
it's a great game for that. I'm again, because scores are stupid, I'm giving this an 81, and I liked it.
What do you care about more, Aaron? A 1 out of 100 score or a Steam
chart?
Like a Steam chart? I mean, Steam charts. What's the Steam charts on this game? Don't pull up the Steam charts, please. I'm just kidding. Do not pull up the Steam charts. I do not actually care.
I'm curious.
Well, if it's anything below what Counter-Strike is doing right now, can we call it a failure? Can we then, if we're going to have this website, can we just post when games are officially failures according to the Steam charts? Because if this game is below Counter-Strike, then this is a failed game. And I'm going to write about it. I'm going to let everyone know that this game has failed. Ew. 892 people have only played this in the last 24 hours. Gross. This game's dead. Oh, man. Can't believe the Steam charts has killed this game. Sorry, guys.
This is popping up as Javier from Nerd Talk Plus is saying. It's got 4 DLCs.
It's got 4 DLCs. I love it.
Game. They're
And
adding content daily.
Yeah. So
wait, 4-story DLCs. I only see 2.
What does he know? So this, sorry guys, the game's dead. Don't play it. So Steam chart says you shouldn't play it. Yeah, dead game. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all we wanted to say. All right, so at this point, Aaron, we'll get into some spoiler parts here, so Aaron can explain to us how we so severely missed the whole purpose of this game. So, Aaron, please grace us with your wisdom. What did I miss in this story that I clearly missed?
You don't know who the old fisherman is?
Yes. Wait, you?
Is it your uncle? Please
No.
tell me it's your uncle.
You are the old fisherman.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who the collector is?
Yeah, it's a figment of your imagination.
He's you.
Yeah.
It's Fight Club. Do you know what
He's
happened?
a sentient boat.
Okay. Do you know? No, he's not a sentient boat. Do you know what happened to your wife?
Yeah, found a mysterious coffin and it unleashed this mysterious fog that is now surrounding this archipelago. I have always such a hard time saying the word. That there is a creature called the Leviathan that took your wife, so she is trapped beneath the waves. And so that's the ending I got. I freed my wife, but then freed the Leviathan and killed everybody. Or at least killed the town.
Do you reveal No, Cthulhu comes out.
Well, they never say Cthulhu.
Leviathan is holding off Cthulhu. So Cthulhu destroys the world. The other option is that you don't save your wife. You toss in the book. So you don't get your wife, but the world doesn't get destroyed by Cthulhu. Because in Lovecraftian horror, Cthulhu will destroy the world. So it's him that actually does it. The Leviathan does not. That little temple area is the temple area dedicated to Cthulhu. And that area that you're in. That is also based off of the city that Cthulhu lives in.
Yeah. I did get that.
Always mission.
And it just...
so you just saw that was like...
Javier, thank you very much.
Doesn't do anything?
It was fine. Because like I said, I think too, it was this pacing. The fact that there wasn't any dialogue, unless you're going
to... It's a 9-hour game. It's not slow.
I can't help but the way I feel.
We should have taken a week off of this podcast or 2. So you can just finish stinking Expedition 33, just get it out of your system and then go. Because that's what the problem is right here. That is way more than anything that Blueprints had. But you love Blueprints' story. This makes no logical sense.
I did not love Blueprint's story. You made it seem like
stop. You were way more.
I was like, oh my god, Blueprints changed my life.
You were way more glowing about that experience than this one, and that's just crazy to me. That's
Blueprints
crazy.
had a play on words. That's clever. You can't play on Dredge.
Wrap this episode up.
All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird 0952. As I said, go to GamePassGrabBag.com. It'll bring you to our link tree. Join us on our Reddit, on our Discord. We're very active. We always love talking and interacting with people. Give us some game recommendations. Once again, thank you so much to Way Reaction who recommended that we played Dredge. Thank you all the people who joined us in our chat. As I said, we normally record live on Wednesdays at around 9 o'clock EST. So come on, join the show. But yeah, take it away if one of you wants to say.
Aaron, Keith, and we had a listener recommendation, so I have to give a review. And 92, because this game was better than Andrew wanted it to be. And it's better than Donnie. Even though Donnie's still helping us. We like you, Donnie. No, stop with it.
Just cue the music, Andrew. And you need to cut out the spoiler section. Nobody wants to hear that before your outro. Cue the music. Let's go.
Oh, no one cares about the outro anyway either. Real quick, Aaron, you're streaming. What are you streaming next?
I don't know. I'm probably just going to play more Rivals.
Dark Ages.
Oh, me and Aaron got to test out Wildgate. Check out our video, Wildgate. But anyway.
It's on YouTube.
Have a good night.